A new breed of maverick surfer was starting to evolve. A younger surfer who was looking up to his mentors and poised to make the next leap in surfing progression. One of those surfers was Jay Moriarty.
A lot of guys surf big waves with eyes like this and fear, and Jay had dropping these things with the biggest smile on his face. As he's taking a slate drop, his eyes aren't like this. He's got the big smile. He loved it. He probably loved it more than anybody. And I think ultimately that's what got him in trouble.
He showed up in the lineup and he's just this smiling, all teeth, starry-eyed, and you're almost in a way like whoa, like this kid's so happy that almost turns me off in a way. Like, how could someone be that happy and so nice to everybody? And because that's not how Santa Cruz was. Santa Cruz was always guarded and tough guy and snide. You didn't. That's how I was brought up. You weren't open arms to everybody. And I've learned a little bit different way now in my life. But Jay had that thing at a very early age, and I learned a lot from him.
I remember palling out at Pleasure Point one day, and First Peak was there. And First Peak at the time, during this season, First Peak at Pleasure Point was real. Who's there? Who are you? Attitude. It was just, you could cut the atmosphere with a knife, the pressure with a knife. It was thick. And I paddle out there and I hate that attitude. Everyone's be careful what they say, careful what to do, and just a lot of barking, it's ready to just explode. And all of a sudden Jay's paddling this way, I'm paddling this way, and I'm just making out. And I said some sort of uncool statement loud. And I looked at Jay, and Jay looked at me, and I figured he'd go, kind of like this, like, oh, just keep it down, And I had a big smile face, and he turned around and reciprocated with something equally as loud, as obnoxious as, just a statement, boy, surfing is great, isn't it? Aren't we having fun out here? It's great to see everybody, something like this, and he did too. And first the guys looked at me, then they looked at Jay, and this, and things just mellowed out. But I was blown away that Jay, as young as he was, and how much he thought of a lot of these guys, who they were and everything, how he would say such a thing to put himself in a place where they may dislike him or think less of him. I was blown away. He had the maturity to do that.
What happened was he shows up in Mavericks and he starts going off out there. Like, he literally showed up and had the boards and the confidence and went out there and was in the bowl, taking off. And one of his first sessions, he takes this huge wave.
Jeff Clark remembers his all-time favorite tow session with Jay Moriarty.
He shows up at the dock at the launch ramp one day and he goes, "What's that?" And I go, "It's gonna be fun." Really good. It's as good as it gets. Anything is possible. It was just gaping barrels, and Jay and they're doing no hands barrel riding. Completely gone, disappearing, and coming out the end. It's one of the best surfers to ever surf Mavericks. He was able to put me right in the place where I needed to be, and took off on this wave, and I let go of the rope too soon, and I tried to hop over the ledge and get down. I couldn't get, so I turned out of the wave and my feet are stuck in the strap, and I reach down to the board and I fall over and tumble over, and he comes driving in. He goes, "What are you doing?" And he's laughing, and there's a 30-foot wave about ready to break on our head, and he knows how long he can just sit there, and the wave's standing up and throwing, and he hasn't even hit the throttle yet until he goes, "Hey, hold on, we gotta go." And I'm either on or I'm not, and he's out, just calm in the face of what some people would think is just terrifying fear.
Jay's passion for the ocean translated into a new sport addiction, freediving. Here he could not only be close to nature but also push the levels of his personal training. Jay loved freediving because it increased his connection with the underwater world. Here, he could be at peace. Jay asked Tom Powers to become his freediving mentor.
He reached out to the elderly statesmen, you know, like Frosty, you know, to say, hey, I want to do this. Can you help show me the way? You know, which is pretty cool. I started taking Jay out on a regular basis. You know, first time he ever got a lingcod or halibut, I was with him, and he was really stoked, kind of like me, just as stoked on spearfishing and freediving as he was surfing Mavericks. You know, he got his first white sea bass actually the month before he died. You know, super duper bummed. You know, and then I felt a little bit of responsibility for not having that shallow water blackout talk. I mean, basically, you know, you want to make sure you're diving within your limits. You know, ultimately, and none of us do this, but we should, is diving with a buddy. You know, in a perfect world, you'd be doing one up, one down, while one guy's on the surface breathing up, the other guy goes down. But, you know, what happens, we end up spreading out, looking for fish in different areas and kind of disconnecting. You know, I've never seen Jay snap on anyone in the water, you know, and things get heated sometimes, you know, for whatever reason, right or wrong, but it happens. And Jay had nothing but a great attitude and good positive vibes, you know, making sure that, you know, you're not all by yourself.
Jay was freediving in the Maldives when he went missing.
You know, the Maldives is some of the best diving in the world. It's the most clearest water in the world. So he was at this one dive spot, and there was a couple of other guys there too that were actually freediving, and so they could dive down to the bottom, super deep, and then hang out on the bottom. And he was down there timing, and he was trying to hold his breath as long as he could. The error that he made was the fact that he wasn't with people, and like he was earlier, but they had all kind of left. And then he was there by himself, and I think he went for one last dive. And you know, what happened was that he was supposed to show up for dinner, and when he didn't show up for dinner, there was a couple people who were like, "Oh, well, I saw him last I saw him. He was over there diving." So they all ended up going to that spot, and then they saw his towel and his stuff, and like they ended up doing a full search, and you know, they went straight to the bottom. Like they basically started diving for him, and they found him at the bottom, and he was sitting just in peace. His watch was beeping. Just beep, 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 beep. You know, and it was a couple hours later probably, and he was just sitting there still as can be. But, you know, they call it a shallow water dock blackout, or basically what I think happens is you get to a certain point when you hold your breath for so long that it gets beautiful. There's a certain point where you can just, it's actually really nice to be there. And I think he just wanted to stay there, and he did.
I was going to meet, you know, everybody up at the funeral home, and I got there before everybody, and they said, you know, who are you here to see? And I said, Jay. And he goes, oh, I'll bring him out for you. And so I'm in the chapel. There's Jay. It was just him and I in the, you know, he was there in front of me, and I was on my knees and I was praying, and just I held onto his hand and just cried, because it was going to be the last time I'd ever got to sit and be with one of the most favorite people I've ever met. I got to say goodbye to him, and I guess the greatest thing that I could do moving forward was try to remember how Jay was, and you know, the example he set at such an early age of kindness and joy, and it seemed that everywhere he went, he left it a better place. And if we could all do that, this whole world would be a better place, wouldn't it?
I just couldn't believe it. There's just no way that could have happened to that guy, because that guy was one of the ones that trained hard and ate well and took care of himself and did everything right. How could something like that happen to him? It's supposed to happen to the guys that don't take care of themselves, and you know, So I was in shock, and it was hard to believe. It really was hard to believe. It really kind of sank in when we did the paddle out for Jay. I came back from the trip and they did a paddle out for him. And when there was 500 people, I mean, maybe even more, I don't even know, but like, I've never seen a paddle out like that. Still to this day, I've never seen a paddle out where the whole entire community came out. Guys were paddling from the west side all the way to the east side. That's, you know, it's a good long 4-mile paddle, 5-minute paddle. Like Flea and all his crew, they all paddled from the lane, you know, and just this huge, gigantic circle. And that's really, I was like, wow, it's true. You know, like he did touch that many people. And he was gone, which in hindsight, he really isn't gone, because we all now remember him for that same smile, that same starry blue eyes, that same love, passion for life. That, you know, that you can hold on to that now. I can hold on to that forever.
And in the end, the wave never changed, but the people did.